Welcome to Autocar's review of the 2015 Geneva Motor Show, a show dominated by fast new metal, including the car you see behind me, Bentley's EXP10 Speed 6.
I say concept. Now technically this is one of those cars that's flagged as such, but you can expect a production version within the next 3 years. The Speed 6 will run alongside rather than replace the current Continental GT. Unlike the GT, the Speed 6 is a two-seater and its high aluminium content means that it should weigh less than 2 tonnes. It has also been developed for both fore and rear-wheel drive and to accept both V6 and V8 powertrains, even a hybrid variant too. Also significant is the Speed 6's interior, whose portrait-shaped touchscreen sits inside a cabin that uses machined as well as handcrafted materials in a far more swooping cockpit-style environment than today's Bentleys. When the Speed 6 arrives, expect a starting price north of 120,000 quid. This is the moment the covers were pulled from the Aston Martin DBX, Aston's surprise unveiling in Geneva. And this is one of those cars that's definitely a concept. Aston boss Andy Palmer said it was created to defy conventional thinking about the luxury GT segment, which is why it looks like nothing else on earth and why it's meant to be powered, though whether this show car actually turns a wheel under its own steam is another matter, by a pair of electric motors. That enables the DBX to have 2 luggage compartments, one at the back and one under what would otherwise be a bonnet. Palmer said it envisages a world perhaps not too far away when luxury GT travel is not only stylish and luxurious but also more practical, more family friendly and more environmentally responsible. That may be so, but our guess is that while you might see an Aston crossover sooner than you think, in the short term it'll have 4 doors and an AMG engine instead of that front luggage compartment. Aston Martin's Vulcan, meanwhile, is the company's take on a hypercar. Just 24 examples of the track-only special will be made, one for each hour of the Le Mans 24-hour race. At Le Mans in June, though not in the race itself, the Vulcan will be seen and heard in action for the first time. Underneath, the £1.8 million Vulcan has a carbon fibre tub derived from that of Aston's last limited-run hypercar, the 177, albeit here it's stiffer, lighter and adapted to fit a full FIA roll cage. Power comes from a front mid-mounted 7-litre naturally aspirated V12 engine driving the back wheels through an X-Track race gearbox. Aston says the V12 will live on even though the company will also adopt AMG powertrains in future, but we're expecting the V12 to be turbocharged for more efficiency. If this is a swan song for the naturally aspirated V12 then it's some farewell. Here it's tuned for more than 800 horsepower. Koenigsegg is no stranger to ridiculous power outputs itself, but even by its standards, the Regera is faintly ludicrous. It has a 5-litre twin-turbo V8 engine in its middle, making 1,085 horsepower, but as if that wasn't enough, it also has 3 electric motors too, one on each rear wheel and one on the crankshaft, giving a total of 1,782 horsepower and more than 1,500 foot-pounds of torque. Mr. Koenigsegg reckons it'll do 250 miles an hour in less than 20 seconds, which is completely absurd, and 0-60 in around 2.8 seconds. Now, they are only going to make 80 of these over the next 5 years, each costing £1.25 million before tax. Let's have a quick dose of normality with the Skoda Superb, Skoda's new large family car. It's more distinctive and, I don't think it's controversial to say, a better looking car than the Superb it replaces. Partly that's because it has a conventional hatchback rather than the twin-door boot of the previous Superb, which could be opened as a hatch or a saloon. That was a novel solution that was frankly heavy, expensive, made the back of the car look ungainly, and which no customers particularly asked for. The new Superb takes more striking looks and marries that with the established strength of this car, a vast rear cabin and huge amount of luggage space. It'll come with a range of 4-cylinder petrol and diesel engines, although it's the diesels that will do the volume in the UK, where it will go on sale in September, priced from less than £20,000. Praise be, the GT3 RS, the most hardcore version of Porsche's 911, is back. With a 4-litre version of Porsche's flat-6 engine, the latest GT3 RS makes 493 horsepower, but what's just as important is that it remains naturally aspirated. Porsche is resisting fitting turbos to its GT derivatives for as long as possible. Here then, peak power is made at an extraordinary 8,250 revs, and it's delivered to the rear wheels via a 7-speed twin-clutch gearbox. As usual, the GT3 RS gets a wider body shell than the GT3, but still comes in 10 kilos lighter at 1,420 kilos, because most of the body is aluminium, the roof structure is magnesium, and the bonnet is carbon fibre. Key figures are a top speed of 200 miles an hour if you ease off the angle of the adjustable rear wing, a 0 to 62 mile an hour time of 3.3 seconds, a Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes and 20 seconds, and crucially, a price a whisker over £130,000. Deliveries start in May. If you think the Glickenhaus SCG 003 has come out of nowhere, remember that American financier and former film director James Glickenhaus has a huge collection of valuable cars and commissioned the P4/5 from Pininfarina, so he has form. The SCG 003 is to be offered in two forms, a race version weighing just 1,350 kilos, powered by a 3.5 litre twin turbocharged V6, that should make 530 horsepower. Glickenhaus recommends the same for road car customers, but buyers will effectively be able to specify their own power plant. Prices start at £1.6 million, and you can add another £750,000 to that for the race version. And if you think that's ambitious, Glickenhaus says that if he sells 10, he'll be at Le Mans with a new LMP1 car in 2017. The Lexus LFSA concept car previews Lexus's upcoming city car. Although at 3.4 metres long, this one is significantly smaller than the Mini and Audi A1 that we expect the production car to eventually rival. Despite the car's shortness, Lexus says the LFSA is capable of carrying 4 passengers, albeit in a 2+2 seating layout with a fixed driver's seat and movable pedals. We expect a production Lexus city car, even if it doesn't look quite like this, to arrive based on a Yaris platform in 2018. Lotus has revised the Evora, the first major changes to the car since it was introduced in 2008. On the outside, the headlines are a new nose and tail design treatment, while under the engine cover, the 3.5 litre Toyota V6 has received a larger supercharger, lifting powers to 400 horsepower, hence the Evora 400 name. Inside, the Evora has been revised too, with Lotus saying that the interior quality has taken a significant hike. Significantly, the sills are 43mm narrower and 56mm lower than before, making it rather easier to get in and out. As well as the power, the price is up too. Expect the new Evora to cost around £70,000 when it goes on sale in August. It feels like we've seen the Honda Civic Type R a dozen times already, but here it is in production form with one very important performance figure announced, a lap time around the Nürburgring of 7 minutes 50.63 seconds, which is 4 seconds faster than the Renault Megane Trophy R. One other figure, the entry-level car will be priced from a fiver under 30 grand when it goes on UK sale in July. More important numbers come from the Lamborghini Aventador SV, or Super Veloce, 50 kilos, which is how much lighter it is than standard Aventador, giving it a claimed weight of 1,525 kilos, and 50 horsepower, which is how much more power the 6.5 litre V12 makes than standard. That takes the total to 740. Also new to the SV are adaptive dampers, said to sharpen the handling, and the option of variable ratio steering. We expect this car to cost from around 295 grand, which is £30,000 more than the standard Aventador. Two significant unveilings from McLaren at the Geneva show. First, the P1 GTR, a track-only version of McLaren's P1 hypercar, which, thanks to the fact it doesn't need to go anywhere near a road, has been given 986 horsepower, up from a touch over 900 on the standard car. Weight is down, meanwhile, by 50 kilos to 1,440, thanks to features like plastic windows, carbon fibre engine panels, and a lighter exhaust. Now, if you want one of the near £2 million GTRs, you must have already bought a P1. Slightly more relevant, then, is the 675 LT, a harder, lighter, and more powerful version of the 650S. This is powered by a 50% new version of the 650S's 3.8 litre twin turbo V8. It makes 666 horsepower, which is up from the 650. Weight is down by an impressive 100 kilos over the 650, giving it a dry weight of just 1,230 kilograms. Aerodynamic improvements, including a longer tail, hence the LT name, which McLaren first used on the racing F1 in 1997, mean better cooling and downforce. And this car comes as a coupe only. Customer deliveries begin in July, and it'll cost around £260,000. Another car with a twin-turbo V8 in its middle then, in the shape of the Ferrari 488 GTB. The 488 is the evolution of Ferrari's 458 Italia and is the second modern Ferrari after the California T to receive turbochargers. Ferrari says the 488's engine has nothing in common with the California's, though. It's a 3.9 litre unit that makes an impressive 660 horsepower at a high 8,000 revs, along with 560 foot-pounds at only 3,000 revs. Still, Ferrari uses what it calls variable torque management system, uses something similar on the California T, I think, to make the power build linearly so it feels less turbocharged. Dry weight is 1,370 kilos, downforce is up by 50% over the 458, and performance figures are strong. 0 to 62 miles an hour is 3 seconds dead, and the top speed is 205. There's no UK price yet, but it will be more than the 458 Italia's 180 grand when it goes into production in September. And finally, something outrageous from Kahn Design, the British company that started as a design tweaking house, but which has moved on to making more significant engineering changes, like this. The Flying Huntsman 6x6 started off in life as a Land Rover Defender 110, but Kahn says this prototype vehicle, codenamed Mission 1, is powered by a 6.3 litre General Motors V8, producing a healthy 430 horsepower. And you might have noticed the extra set of wheels. Now, the engine drives all 6 of them via a 6-speed auto transmission, making the Flying Huntsman a rival for Mercedes-AMG's G63 6x6. Other modifications, including converting the car into an armoured vehicle, are in the pipeline. Pricing has yet to be announced, but bear in mind that the 4-wheeled Flying Huntsman costs 125 grand before taxes, so it is not going to be inexpensive, but it might be very, very good fun.